Call to order, Park Board meeting, Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. Roll call, would you take that?
Karen Nessett.
Here.
Karen Stankovich.
Here.
Tori Boomsma.
Here.
Mike Kennedy.
Here.
Don Buchholz.
Here.
That should do it.
That does it. Okay, approval of minutes, approval of the meeting minutes for October 3rd, 2023 of Park Board.
I'm over.
Any comments? So I have a second. Been moved and seconded. Any comments or suggestions from citizens that are present?
No, you gotta go. For all those in favor.
Oh, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign.
Carried.
Moved. Again, any comments or suggestions of citizens? All right. In new business now, we have a presentation by the Lake Malibu trustee Trestle Park project. And
So I think I'm supposed to talk from here.
Yeah.
My name is Paul McGinnis. I'm part of the St. Croix Bicycle Pedestrian Trails Coalition, and I'm here to give you an update. I believe you had an initial presentation from Mark Garrity, Susan Heiser earlier within the last few months about what we're endeavoring to move ahead with and to get interest in. So in way of an update, a couple things. You have two pieces of paper in front of you. The first one is a fact sheet and the second one is a map. Let me start with the map just really quickly. I don't believe you may have seen this before, but this simply identifies who the owners are of the property around the Lake Malibu Basin, that area. And if you'll notice that the city of Hudson is a joint owner of the vast majority of that property, along with the village of North Hudson and the county of St. Croix. So long story short, you guys already own this. The second point is that it's already being used by citizenry for a variety of things, although there's been nothing developed and nothing official. The purple areas in the middle identified on here as the Union Pacific is also now owned by a private individual with whom there have been conversations, and I will update you on that information that we're able to share. The second piece of paper is a fact sheet. We've worked over the past period of time to put this together, and it's basically a high-level summary of the vision, the story, the history, the location, and on the back side we talk about challenges, opportunities, amenities, benefits, and some next steps in what we're trying to accomplish here. So that's the way orientation of the pieces of paper. Long story short, that the vision behind this is a trestle park, which is a confluence of the past, a bridge to the future, so it identifies those connections. It connects North Hudson and Hudson. It connects the non-motorized transportation opportunities that are being developed, have already been developed within Hudson, are being developed by the county just outside of North Hudson, heading north along Highway 35 through this area, so that you have that ability to connect parts north, parts south, parts in Minnesota, parts in the county with each other, and we think that this could be a very vital link in that particular chain of opportunities of ways you can get people either by walking, running, hiking, wheelchairs, cycles, e-bikes, all of those things through those spaces in a way that's safe and efficient and effective for everybody concerned. This is also a way of connecting the residents of these communities with each other, connecting us with our history and our natural beauty, that since this is sitting right on the St. Croix River, a beautiful scenic riverway. So it is an opportunity. When I first walked on this property, which I've lived in this area for well over 30 years, I had not been on this property until about 3 years ago. I walked on the property and went, oh my goodness, who would have ever guessed that this was here? It is stunning, it is beautiful. If you haven't been down there, you should be. It's a waterfowl migratory area. It's got some fishing. It's just plain beautiful. It's also an opportunity of putting all these things together. So our vision is to develop these connections through this, to develop a park that provides for effective utilization by the citizens, that ties together that natural history, that beautiful history, the communities in a space that already is owned and be used to some extent in a way that's more efficient and effective for all concerned. The second is to provide that connection. So we're obviously a Trails Coalition. That's one of our primary interests. So long story short, those are the summaries. What has happened since they last have spoken, I believe they showed you some concepts, and we have developed, that has been now merged into a single concept with help from the National Park Service folks, as again, we're working with the National Park Service on developing this through their Rail Trails Conservation Association group, assistance group, and that project has been extended for a second year, so that goes through late next spring. So that's now been developed into a single concept that we'll bring back and show you what some of the dreams might be. Of course, that always depends on input from the communities involved. It all depends on input from the public and everything else. So it is merely that. It is merely concepts. The second thing, the National Park Service, through some of their relationships, have been able to work with a landscape architectural firm, and they're going to be developing some pro bono estimates of what this might cost and what staging might look like, because sometimes you can bite off the whole thing with one bite. If there's enough resources, sometimes you need to stage things, and those are all important questions to be able to answer for you all and for the city, and more specifically for the taxpayers and your constituents. So those are two key things that have happened. The third thing that has also occurred is that there's been ongoing conversations between our group and the private individual that purchased this and his attorney about kind of what his thinking is and how that might align or not align with some of our dreams and desires. He has confirmed to us that there is active interest in providing that trail access across the trestle and providing that trail access as appropriate through his property. So still very much a work in progress, but this particular individual, we don't know what his final plans are. We don't know what his long-range plans are for this particular piece of property, but we do know that he has said, yeah, I'm very supportive of this. So that we also felt was a very big piece of positive news. We also had developed some alternatives, so if that didn't happen, we could still move ahead with some recommendations that would still get folks there, allow the use of the area in a way that, that worked. So lots of alternatives there depending on what happened for us. So those are some of the key things. There's another meeting that's going to happen in about 2 weeks to go over that with a smaller group that's meeting to review some of these. And then there are some ongoing meetings to try and decide how we can encourage municipalities to sit down at the table and begin to have the conversation about the nuts and bolts of how this might look, how this might work. It's obviously in the governmental, most of it's in the governmental jurisdiction of North Hudson. Some of it's in the jurisdiction of Hudson. Of course, it's all in St. Croix County. The access, other than the trestle, would be from the Hudson side. There's all of these bits and pieces of trying to put this all together. We think that's also where the Park Service can be helpful to us in that they have done these types of activities in the past of getting multiple municipalities, multiple organizations working together. So that is, so the other work that's been done is we have worked with a individual who's designed trails in Wisconsin, and he has taken a look at it and come up with some preliminary suggestions for us, some preliminary estimates for us. Again, I don't know if that information was shared with you, but strictly preliminary, strictly concept that have been developed also. So there's been quite a bit of work done. We also received a large grant from a foundation to help fund some of this work. Part of the critical piece of this, and the reason we're trying to keep everyone in the loop, and I was just at a North Hudson Park Board meeting within the last couple of weeks, is that we know that there's funding cycles coming up. We know that there's some opportunities for resources out there that might allow for a significant infusion of capital to develop this without it all landing on the back of the budget or the taxpayer. Some of those funds may not require matching from the municipalities involved. Some may. Those are all questions and decisions we need to make, but we do know that there's funding out there. Some of it's going to begin to start to go away as some of the COVID era monies wind down. We know last year in the state of Wisconsin, a significant $50 to $70 million of federally available funds went unclaimed because people did not have projects ready or hadn't stepped forward with things. We think that there are attributes of this project that would enable the communities to access some of that funds that are out there that are going unclaimed. So maybe some great opportunities here is what our hope is and our dreams are. Any questions or?
How helpful has the National Park Service been in the conversations? Are they kind of taking the lead on a lot of it, or are they just listening and then giving their input based on what they've seen in the past, or just curious?
They are facilitating,
Okay.
is the best way to describe it. We've been working with one of their staff people who's been assigned to us, and this is one of her key projects. So this went all the way up to the regional level for approval and final approval off in Washington. So she's been the staff person assigned to us. We're one of, I think, 3 or 4 projects she's working on, including one down in Prescott. She had a medical issue, so we had another person assigned to us for a period of time. They actually had a regional meeting about a year ago now, with the facilitators from 13 states in their region. They just had the meeting in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, and this was one of the places they chose to come to take a look at it. Those 13 individuals from different states, including Illinois, Nebraska, North and South Dakota, Wisconsin, Iowa, among others, came and saw this and were quite impressed, felt that we had a phenomenal opportunity here that was at this point unrealized.
In what
Including a
ways?
very nice stand of black locusts that you guys own that apparently have some value.
Oh, yeah.
In what ways are you bringing this presence to the public so that, is there a event kickoff, or any events in the planning?
So we've been working kind of behind the scenes. I think we're now at the step of stepping forward into the governmental entities to say, are you interested? Are you willing to commit time, energy, and resources to begin to move this through that process? Then at some point after there's been a fair amount of input and some formal conversations among the entities, Hudson, North Hudson, about who does what, who pumps the toilet that's down there, if there's a toilet down there, who maintains it, who polices it, how does that all work out, who plows the road, who plows the street, what kinds of improvements need to be done to make it functional. I mean, those are all the nuts and bolts questions that are really critical for people and for organizations to work through. That's our hope, that we can move to that point of officially getting those conversations going and trying to hammer out some of those details. Obviously and clearly the public will very much be appreciated their involvement, because they have some great ideas. They're the folks that are going to be using the space, so their input is critical at some point appropriately, and you all, as well as North Hudson and the county, if they choose to be involved, will be steering those points of access and those conversations.
Okay, thank you, Dr. McGinnis. Are there any more questions or discussion? Okay, thank you.
For your time. We'll
Thank you very
continue to
much.
follow up as we have more information.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Next is the memorial application that will be submitted by David Cahoy. David, would you mind stepping up to give us a fill-in? Come on,
If you
Dave.
want to.
Come on, Dave.
So I'll just introduce it. So received a memorial application from David to install a bench in Lakefront Park. As part of the application, he kind of identified 3 different options that he would, accept or would be accepting to him. And based on, I went down there and took a peek at it, and I thought the number 1, the first priority that he had on his ranking was acceptable and a nice spot for a bench there. I think it'd be neat to kind of get benches around that whole inside U for people to look at, concerts, so on and so forth. So with that being said, if you have anything else to share.
Oh, no, I appreciate the opportunity, and I think more people should take advantage of it. There's the memorial things happen so fast and instantaneous, memorials and so forth. So all of a sudden people think, oh, we have money for memorial, and it just goes boom, and the decision has been made. It's like a 30 time period. So I think more people should take advantage of it, and the parks and so forth. Just the knowledge that the parks accept things like that is really good.
David, I'd like you to know that so many of us in this community, I've been here over 50 years, and a good friend of your father as well, and your parents, how much they have really been part of this community and really contributed a great deal to this community. And your father was a friend to so many people, and I'd just like that on the record. And
Hey, thank you, Don.
you're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Yeah, yeah.
So staff,
He loved the community.
He did, and everyone knew him, and he knew everyone.
staff reviewed the memorial application and is recommending approval.
And what was the final location?
It was going to be
didn't even see, sorry.
This one, number 1.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right.
I'll move to approve the memorial at
Do I
the
have a-
location of number 1, or working with Mike to place it exactly where.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have motion moved and seconded. All those who approve, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Okay, next, 2023 boat launch summary. Mike?
Yep, so I'll kind of rifle through the next several items on the agenda. Some of them are just kind of summaries of the usage throughout the 2023 season. First one being the boat launch, and our parking coordinator, Katie Suckup, put together a kind of a summary of the season. Kind of went through the overview, offered some feedback. I think kind of the nuts and bolts is obviously our total season pass revenue was $17,672. And then our total daily revenue was $66,972 with a
I
total.
think you're opposite, aren't you?
Nope, I'm right.
Total.
Oh,
Yep.
total.
And then the total boat launch revenue was $84,644. So obviously, looking back on our records, I couldn't find anything higher. And obviously, it's going to be more just because we have more spaces down there, and obviously the use is a lot more. So this was the best year that we've ever seen in the city, and heard some good things, some bad things. We're trying to make adjustments as users continue to use it down there. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, we ran into some issues with just flow patterns, so on and so forth. I did not turn on the wash base stations this season because I wanted people to kind of get used to the general flow of the lot and where you can and can't park. We had issues with, cars parking or trucks parking along yellow lines, so on and so forth. So just trying to work out the bugs out, but overall, I think it's been a huge success. And obviously during high water, we're able to still launch boats out, which is the reason why one of the reasons why we primarily reconstructed that launch to begin with. So, and then obviously in the packet, she breaks out kind of when the transactions occur, typically, higher in the mornings, morning hours, afternoon hours are high, peak times. But it's just a neat report to kind of just see, when the uses are, when the money's coming in, so on and so forth. So it's something that we can base future years' revenue off of. So, any questions on that?
Where does that money go?
Yep. So the money goes back in the general operating fund.
Okay.
Yep, so
Just
it's
for the city, or the city?
just for the city,
Okay.
yep. It's identified as a revenue source in the budget, and whatever money comes back in offsets expenses for
Okay.
the city to run.
And the use of the passport system, I
Yep.
assume, saved a ton of office.
Knock on wood, I did not receive a single phone call about the pay stations not working or credit card reader not working or anything like that, so.
Nice.
Yep,
Wonderful.
it's been fantastic. In fact, now that you bring that up, it's been such a nice not to have to count all of that cash. I mean, that was, you can imagine Deb and I counting $50,000 worth of cash and a lot of singles, right?
Yeah.
That's what we had to do in the past, so to not have to do that, just a lifesaver and a time saver for staff, so.
Okay. Parks revenue summary?
Yep. So again, we'll go into the parks reservation and athletic field summaries. So Deb put this together, and basically it's just looking at the numbers of the amount of revenue that we had collected in 2023. So the total revenue that we collected for the park shelters, which are in Prospect Park, Grandview Park, White Camp, and then we also have the Overlook and volleyball courts and band shell. Down in Lakefront Park, we gross revenue of $16,755. That is fairly on par with what we typically see in a season. And then for the field use revenue, again, this is for the reservation of athletic fields in Burton Park and Grandview Park. Our total revenue for reserving those facilities was $16,780.02. Again, that's fairly standard of what we typically see in a season. So right on par with what we see. So we'll continue to operate those facilities in the future and reserve them out. And this again, Tori, to your question before, this also just goes back to general operating
Okay.
to offset operating costs for the city. Any questions on that?
Okay.
Yep.
So user fee or,
Yep. Do this one
okay, on the
here.
park user fees?
Yep, so discussion, possible action on the 2024 park user fees. So basically, at this time of the season, I bring forward our park user fees for the upcoming 2024 season. Based on your approval tonight, this goes on the fee schedule, and this is what we charge for use of our parks. The only thing that I am recommending is that we update the fees for Burton Park. So right now, Burton Park fees, we only charge $5 an hour for use of that facility. It's not so much, it's more of a staff efficiency and just so that users aren't confused. I'm recommending that we just bump it up to $10 an hour, just like we charge at Grandview Park, so that everything is the same. It's kind of what we did with our park reservations last year. We basically put everything the same, just so it's easy for Deb to compute at the end, or, you know, it's just easier when you don't have 100 different numbers to remember. And it's also easier on the user end. They know exactly what, you know, everything is the same. So other than that, I don't, Lakefront Park, all the shelter reservations, we just updated them last year. We bumped them all up. The boat launch fees, we aren't able to bump up just because they are controlled by the DNR. And so we're only able to charge what the state code tells us to, so those remain the same. And then also, and that's all, because
Okay.
boat moorings is a different one. So based on that, I'm just looking for a motion to approve the 2024 park user fees as presented.
So somebody move,
I'll move.
and the second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to update the Burton Park from $5 per hour to $10 per hour. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion moved. And approved. Okay, 2024 mooring fees and policy.
Yep, same thing here. So every year we review the sailboat mooring fees and bring it forward for Park Board to discuss and recommend the annual fee. I'm recommending that we keep the same annual fee for the sailboat moorings. It's it was $575 in 2023. So staff is just recommending that we carry that forward to 2024 as well.
Okay,
And then, as far as the sailboat mooring policy, there were no changes to the policy. I know a couple of years ago, we made a few changes to clean up the wording and everything like that, and it seems like, Deb, you can maybe speak to it. It seems like we've eliminated a lot of the confusion on the user end, and I think we got it squared away pretty well, so no changes to the sailboat mooring policy.
okay, based on this, do I have a motion to keep the sailboat mooring fees as is at a fee of $575?
I have a quick question.
Question?
We've talked about the stairways that we're gonna put in there.
Yep.
And I know that the timing wasn't right and the, didn't have a lot of bids. We're trying to balance not being a very expensive place to put the boat based on the what we offer. But we're struggling to come up with the money to put the stairs in. This is the only fund where that stairway gets
Correct.
paid out of, right?
Correct. So the sailboat mooring funds that we collect, a portion of it does go into the park, was it 280 account?
Yeah,
And so those monies are then utilized
Specifically for that.
specifically for improvements to kind of that Lakefront Park area that affect the sailboat
Okay.
mooring community, yeah. And you're right, I mean, there is, Mr. Casanova, welcome. Hello.
Welcome, Pat.
The bids that we did receive were high, and
Yep.
so we weren't able to proceed with it. And, you know, it's a balancing act between charging an appropriate fee that's fair, right? Versus making sure we have revenue come in to make improvements to that area.
Right.
Because there's other things that'll be coming down the road, like maybe replacing all the anchor buoys or replacing all the anchor, because right now
Yeah.
it's on the individual owner to set their own anchors and buoys. Maybe it would be beneficial for the city to do it their own systems, just because we have problems with boats moving around a little bit, because the anchors aren't,
Right.
you know, aren't strong enough, thank you. So, yeah, I mean, it is a balancing act for sure. I just know that in the past, since I've been here, whenever we do raise fees, even if it's $5, there's a lot of outcry.
Yeah.
So there is that.
But again, maybe I'm just displaying that is
Yes.
the balance that we're trying to strike. Be affordable, but also someday add more amenities that make that more valuable, so.
Right. And then I guess, just for your information,
What is the timeline on that, the staircase?
well, we'll rebid it next spring.
Okay.
Yep, so, and see if we can get some better numbers back. But I was just gonna say, the waiting list that we had this year, Deb, how many were on there? Was it only like 3 or 4?
Well, it's getting down there. It fluctuates, I guess. No, I think
Okay.
it was like 8.
Oh, it was 8?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because it's gotten down to as low as 3, and it's been as high as, what, 15, 20 in the past? So it kind of hovers in that, half a dozen to a dozen range for the most part. So it's not like, I don't know, people are wanting to get in there, for sure.
All right, so do we have a motion
I make a motion to approve.
and seconded?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Well, next, Grandview Concession Agreement. Discussion on possible action of the 2024 concession agreement at the Grandview Park. You want to take that, Mike?
Yep. So every year, we bring forward the concession agreement with Hudson Boosters. They're still interested in using that facility for their events, tournaments, nightly games, so on and so forth. And we've had a great relationship with the Hudson Boosters. This agreement has been in place for a number of years, and they're looking to do it again. So based on the agreement, the concessionaire, in this case the Hudson Boosters, pays 6% of their revenues to the city. In 2023, that was $2,936.13. And so with that being said, staff is recommending approval of the 2024 agreement.
Based on that, do I have a motion?
Those funds go to improvement.
Those, yes.
That's been moved and seconded? It's been second? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
So just a point of clarification, Deb said that those monies that we collect from that agreement or that revenue, that does stay at Grandview Park for future improvements, just so that you're aware. So it goes into a fund and it accumulates over time.
Okay. Then moving on to the scheduling agreement between
Same.
Hudson Boosters and the City of Hudson.
Same thing, we drafted this agreement, gosh, is this second year now?
Yep.
Basically a formal document where Hudson Boosters is the primary scheduler for our facilities. Just because they're probably like 85% of our users are from the Hudson Boosters group, and it just makes sense for them to take the lead on that. It's been a relationship that we've had with them for a long, long time, and it's very beneficial to the city to continue that agreement.
They do a nice job.
They do a great job. They're very responsive. They follow the policies that we have in place as far as like priority rankings and who gets the facilities and who doesn't, so on and so forth. And it's been a great partnership with them, and so staff is recommending approval of the 2024 scheduling agreement.
Okay. So I need a motion to approve the 2024 scheduling agreement between Hudson Boosters and the City of Hudson.
So moved.
It's been moved. May I have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there any old business?
I just have a question about Bella Rose again. I can't remember what the final decision was in closing. I was going back to the old notes, but I know we talked about fencing in an area. I can't remember what we discussed, though.
Yep. So actually, it's funny you bring that. We actually had a meeting today with a playground company that has supplied a lot of our playgrounds throughout the community. And we kind of gave them some ideas based on the input that we had from the community and park board. It was enclosed, the entire space, with a couple of shade structures inside the enclosure.
Okay.
Along with the playground. And then basically a sidewalk leading up from the south going into the playground, and then kind of a stub going to the northwest for a future shelter site.
Okay.
So based on those kind of amenities that we discussed, we kind of charged the playground expert to put together a couple of, draft
Mock-ups, whatever. Yeah.
mock-ups that we would bring back to Park Board for your review on. So hopefully within the next couple of months, we would have something for you to
Okay,
to
so
review.
all the, like the picnicking enclosed or shaded areas are going to be inside the fenced area?
Yep,
Because
so-
I was just, the reason I was asking, I was just by there, well, at the Quick Trip.
Yeah.
And looking at that retention pond, and I'm like, oh, if we don't have it fenced in, we need to fence that out.
Yeah.
That was my main concern. So
Yep,
now
so-
if everything's fenced in, I'm
So
good.
within the fence, we will have a couple of smaller shade structures that you can fit like a picnic table underneath. So families want to go inside and, sit down, and we should probably incorporate some benches in that design too, Deb, I just thought of that. But, yes, there will be options for families to go inside and stay inside the fenced
Okay.
area. And then there will also be an opportunity to have a larger pavilion for, if a family wants to get together with their extended family, walk down to the park and have a place to picnic, they're able to do that as well.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Is there any other old business? None so? How about project updates?
There's nothing listed, but I guess I'll just inform you that all of the restrooms throughout the city have been winterized. Mother Nature played a trick on us about 2 weeks ago. And, it was kind of a mad dash to get everything buttoned up because it was getting down in the low 20s. So we didn't want to chance anything. But having said that, we do have portable toilets placed throughout our parks for people to still use the facilities if they need to. And then obviously the wharf project has begun. As many of you have noticed, if you've driven by Lakefront Park, Lunda has been in there for a few weeks now. They've been working on the north entrance to the facility first. It seems like they've got pretty much everything buttoned up there, and they'll be moving down to the south end to do the retaining wall, seawall work down on that end. So anticipation of getting kind of the main demo to the seawall and gangway entrances done yet this fall. Likelihood of seeing any pylons or docks in yet this year, slim to none, and Slim probably just left the building. So that'll probably occur after we can't work in the river our permit doesn't allow us to work in the river from March 15th to June 1st for fish spawn. So what I'm guessing is gonna happen, and this may change, but this is kind of what my gut feeling is, after that June 1st date, that's when we'll see the pilings being driven and then the docks being set. So that's kind of gives you a timeline of when that would be completed. So, but, yeah, it's an interesting project. Opening up some old ground, the old seawall. It's been a challenge, a couple spots. But they're doing a great job as far as trying to keep the integrity of the project and moving forward and within budget.
Okay, thank you. Any communications and items for future agendas?
Yeah, I'd just like to bring this up. I talked several months ago about possibly talking to the Hudson Home and Garden Club about working on the gardens that are up near that beautiful new pad in Prospect Park. And they have given me a grant application, so this can go on a future agenda item. They do grants up to $500. So I don't know if you've seen those gardens, but they need some work, and they need some new plantings. So anyway, I just put it out there for future discussion.
All right, thank you.
When is that due, Karen?
March 1.
March 1st. Okay.
And then if you get the grant, it has to be used in 6 months. So that would be perfect for the summer.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
Move to adjourn?
Move. There's been a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.